everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Laurie Pieper. I'm the director of the Washburn University Bright Center. The Bright Center is an initiative out of the Kansas SBDC at Washburn University to help with business resources for innovation, technology, and exporting. Alan, would you like to introduce yourself now?
Sure. I'm Alan Badgley. I'm the director for the Tech Commercialization Program. We call it the Tech Innovation Center, primarily because if we called it technology, then we had folks saying, so you don't help with innovation or software or something soft if it was a non-product. So we call it the Tech Innovation Center. Our job is coordinating through our SBDC advisors to provide specific service added value to our SBDC advisors through the innovators that are looking to commercialize their technology. So we're coordinating with Laurie and the Bright Center with what we do in order to provide those services. Laurie?
Thank you, Alan. It's really been great to work with Alan and his team and the things that they've accomplished through encountering innovation over the last couple of years. So I know Alan's going to be telling us all about that in a little bit. One thing that I hope that everybody can take away from today is that between our two centers and the teams that we work with through our centers, we really have a very well-rounded program for helping people in innovation and technology, no matter what stage they're at and no matter what their pathway to commercialization. So we look forward to telling you about that today. So if it's okay, I'll go ahead and start screen sharing. And oops, I'm at the end. Forgive me. I'm going to escape and scoot back to the beginning. Alan, you want to fill the space for a moment while I go back to the beginning?
So I'll do a screen share and let you know that I'm going to, I'm very proud of, did I go to it? I'm hoping, can you see my cursor, Mindy?
We can. You're on your website.
Okay, good. Every once in a while, Zoom does it where I apparently click it wrong and it doesn't give me my green border, and I think I'm running on out in the midair. So what we've done is we've been doing PowerPoint slides and things like what Laurie will show you in a few minutes, but I'm trying to wean myself off of PowerPoint and force or encourage us, not force, encourage us to go to our toolbox. And so with our great folks at Pittsburgh State with the SBDC, they've been doing a great job of helping us prepare our website in a way that it can become a toolbox for you, whether you're the innovator, whether you're the SBDC advisor, or whether you're a resource partner or part of the ecosystem in whatever fashion. So if you go to Kansas SBDC Net, you can see when you get there, the landing page, you don't have a lot of choices to begin with, which I really like, makes it simple to navigate. You go to tech commercialization, we want to continue that feel all the way through it. So depending on what you're looking for, we should be able to help you. If you go over to the events page, this is probably our primary focus where you can look through and see what's coming on. We're going to start working, hopefully do a good job of working with Bright because of what Laurie's going to tell you in a few minutes, how we can run through and help you to navigate what's coming up. If you see something of interest and you notice under the status update, applications closed, then at that point, you realize you're not going to participate in an innovator as an innovator if you were planning or hoping to and you hadn't seen it before. But you should still be able to look at the overview video, understand what it is, figure out what their program is, because what we're doing in most cases, our events that we have are part of the program of commercialization. They're not just a one-off event in most cases. That means then the program that you see in an event will come back around as we continue to move forward. Our job is to help you beyond, before, during, and beyond the event as you're commercializing or working to commercialize. Our hope is that each of these events brings a major customer or a focused customer. Like in our matchmaking, it's NASA and DoD primes, or Encountering Innovation, which is primarily the DoD Tech Scouts. So just an idea of the events. With that in mind, Laurie, are you back ready? And I'll stop sharing and let you go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Alan.
There we go.
So Alan, I'm going to guess that one question that people might have had about the events that you were showing is, are all of those events that you're doing through your center, or are some of them partner events? When they go to the event space, what are they seeing?
Sure. So the idea, they're seeing events that we're participating in. Most of those we're hosting ourselves. The first one that you saw, Tech Collision, we're working very closely with the Catalyst campus in Colorado Springs. We supported their event last year. By that, well, I mean our Encountering Innovation process, our intake, and the forms that we use. We worked with them to do the same thing. To where they're now, their focus is Space Force. And our second event with NASA, some of the similar technologies in Space Force, some are not, but some are, along with NASA. So they're not doing their outreach to the industry side this year. We are, so we're working, in our case, the second one, matchmaking, is to focus more on industry where our clients can hopefully get contracts. So similar. So, and then the rest are our events. To your point, then, with your event that's coming up, we want to put it on there as well, so where people can go to one location and look through from a commercialization point of view and see what's coming up.
Great, thank you, Alan. I certainly appreciate that. But I'm glad that you elaborated on what you have on the events page, because there's so much, and something that we're both doing with the centers is creating opportunities and creating events that are being run through the Kansas SBDC, but we're also really working with our partnerships so that we have more opportunities to get businesses in Kansas and businesses that we work with involved in those opportunities.
Yeah.
So this is from the front page of the Washburn University Bright Center website. And what I wanted to call attention to here is that we started out by telling people about what commercialization is, because when we initially talk with somebody who's an innovator or involved in technology, they don't always know what we mean when we say that we're helping people with commercialization. And so what we're really looking at is, how can we help people get out of research and development all the way into the commercial marketplace and really help to scale their businesses. So that's the kind of thing that we're talking about when we're talking about commercialization, is taking something that's innovative, whether it's a technology, a product, or a service, or just getting something out of the lab and into the commercial market space. That's what we're talking about when we talk about commercialization, and that's what we're helping with. So from the Bright Center, something that we discovered in working with businesses and also the resource partners that we work with at all levels is that there are gaps in the ecosystem for supporting small businesses that really have the potential to scale, because there are very different needs for that type of business than from just a local downtown shop. And so we wanted to fill that gap so that there are more resources available to help those types of companies. And so that's what we did. We created a center that was focused on filling the gaps by providing advising and education that is specific to the needs of companies that have the potential for high growth and for getting from the research and development stage out into the commercial marketplace, and also so that we had a way to really work with resource partners so that there aren't places for people to fall into the cracks, that we can help keep them moving along in the process and hopefully make it more efficient and help people avoid mistakes and get to where they're going more quickly. And one of the pathways for commercialization is through exporting. And so that's why we're doing that in conjunction with innovation and technology at the Bright Center. And this is incredibly important because Kansas needs to continue to support innovators, support technology companies. It needs to continue to grow its economy. And so that's why we're doing this. At the Bright Center, this is our team. Just amazing people to work with between Carl and Tom and I were very passionate about working with companies to help them launch and scale their businesses. I'll love to tell you a little bit more about our background. Carl and I are both WKI certified tech coaches. I'm a NASBITE certified global business professional. Carl is a certified valuation analyst. I think that Tom is also, and we have a lot of different, we complement each other. We have a lot of different backgrounds and connections that we bring to working with the companies that we work with. So our vision is that not only is it important for Kansas to grow its economy, but also the world needs innovations. There are all these problems out there that need to be solved. Existing problems, problems that are on the horizon, and we want to help people address those problems. And those are things that have the potential for both domestic markets and also international markets. And so to try to help, what we're doing is offering high value services in terms of advising, team advising, maintaining relationships, working with resource partners, trying to create opportunities, trying to help people connect with existing opportunities, and also try to help businesses be more resilient as they move forward. So we have two tracks. We have our innovation and technology track and our export and international trade track. Within those tracks, we provide advising, general business education on topics like how you create your business model, what's your value proposition. But then we also have some very specific education, like how do you work with the FDA? You know, can you benefit from hiring a chief marketing officer? How do you work with a sales rep or a distributor? So we have both the general business education, but also the more specific topical education to help businesses scale. We're very interested in helping with access to capital, market entry, management team development, and also, you know, utilizing whatever resources are out there to help you. So the reason why we have these divided into two tracks is because even though the titles might be the same, the content and the resources are different, but the needs are very similar. So it makes sense to work with these together. So here's some examples of trainings that we've done recently. This was just a fabulous panel discussion of what makes a great tech or innovation company founder. And I love working with company founders. I love working with people who have a vision and try to help them get there. We've had trainings on the importance of ag innovation for Kansas. We're very interested in rural outreach and working with rural communities. We've done the value proposition and business model trainings. We've had several different types of cybersecurity trainings and compliance issue trainings. We're going to continue continuing to do those. K-State came in and did a presentation for us on how to work with the university on technology transfer, which is licensing intellectual property that's been developed at the university. And how to put together a robust international business plan. We've got several events coming up related to growing your management team. This is a webinar that we have on Friday. PSC Biotech is having Brandon Clow, the Chief Revenue Officer, and several of their regulatory affairs people do a presentation on working with the FDA, but also other agencies that are important for new companies that are in life sciences, human health, animal health, and related industries, and how you make that a part of your business plan and plan for it in terms of how you're going to go to market, how you're going to get to new markets, those kinds of things. So again, the world needs innovations. People often ask me like, well, what industry do you work with? We're interested in working with people across all different industries to help them move forward. And just to give you a little bit of context, again, for why the exporting is an important part of this, companies that are exporters have more stability traditionally because they have market diversification. They're generally able to create new jobs. They're generally able to offer higher wages, and they really have a significant impact on our economy. And people sometimes think, well, I can't really export because I'm a small business, but most exporters actually are small businesses. So that's why this training is important. It's not just innovation and technology clients that we work with, but also anybody that has the potential to scale through entering international markets. So I've already talked a little bit about our advising and our education. We also are trying to develop new programs. We want to be innovative ourselves and not just do the same old things that have been offered. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the new programs that we have coming up, but we really want to work with people to help develop programs for proof of concept, going to market, developing management capacity, connections with investors and networking opportunities. And we really take very seriously the partner engagement portion of what we do, because we can't do everything. And so being able to connect with resource partners to help us provide better value to the businesses that we work with is very important, and we take those relationships seriously. So I want to announce that we are going to be having a pilot program that we're starting this summer. It's Bright Ideation, which is business ideation for innovators. So if you're an innovator and you think you've got an idea, but you don't understand the business side of things, we will take you through a process of helping to refine your idea, really understanding the problem that you're addressing, what your solution is, how your solution fits into the market space, what that ecosystem is going to be like, putting together a go-to-market plan, and then having your story that you can use when you're working with resources or potential investors or anybody that you need to help move forward. You have to know how to present your story. So we're offering this pilot program this summer using WKI materials, and we're incredibly excited about this. We're looking for about 5 companies to work with us. It'll be 8 weeks. We're going to do a combination of group meetings held virtually together with individual advising from our team. And we're going to be going through Wendy Kennedy's So What, Who Cares, Why You training. We also have an innovation competition coming up in October. Again, we're super excited about this. This is not going to be a business plan pitch competition. This is going to be a competition for young existing innovators that already have founded companies in the state of Kansas. And we're going to be looking at things like, what is the problem that they're solving? What's its significance? How innovative is their solution? How effective does the solution look? Do they have a go-to-market plan or commercialization plan? Do they have a plan for how they're going to bring in their funding and how we can help them? So we're going to have prize money. We're also going to have donated services. We're going to offer people feedback on their presentations. Hopefully it'll be a great chance for people to make some connections and do some networking. And then we're also going to have several speakers throughout the day to keep people involved in the event when they're not pitching. So I would love for you to go to our website, wubrightcenter.com, look at what we have in terms of upcoming training events. We are still going to put the pilot cohort for the summer, Bright Ideation, on the website. That's going to be going up soon, along with the application process for the innovation competition. There's a place where you can request services. We have a questionnaire that we ask you to fill out just so that we can understand a little bit more about your background. And then we have a resources page that has we're still developing it. If you see anything that you would like added to it, let us know. But we go through topics related to business startup, related to intellectual property, related to exporting. We've got information about small business innovation research grants and other resources to help innovators, technologies, and exporting companies. We're also coming up, we've got, we're working with resource partners on, outreach for and conducting an event for minority and women innovators, technology, and exporting companies. And we're, prior to the pandemic, we had a conference series that we rolled out around the state for rural and independent innovators. One of the things that we're working on moving forward that we have in the works is reviving that conference series. So lots of exciting things, and I would love to talk with people. So my ask of you today is that you take time to learn more about us, request our services if you think we can help you, let people know about us, attend our trainings, let us know about needs that you see, and if you're a resource partner or a potential resource partner, we would love for you to reach out to us to talk about what we can do together. So here is our information again, and I'll take questions, discussion.
So we do have a question. Someone said, "Hi, Laurie, I would love to do the Ideation program. Is it open to innovators outside of Kansas?"
Right now, we are wanting to start it with businesses in Kansas. I suppose that probably depends on whether we fill the pilot program or not. Why don't you reach out to me and we'll stay in touch and see what the what our capacity looks like. And I appreciate the interest.
So something that was brought up at the very beginning, and maybe this is something that one or both of you could elaborate on a little bit more for people who might not be familiar with what encountering innovation is, because that was briefly mentioned at the very beginning. So if Alan or Laurie, if one of you want to kind of brief over what is encountering innovation and how both of your centers can help support people and get them ready for it, and what is the support after the conference is over.
Okay, so Encountering Innovation is started out as a conference. The program is designed to meet with Department of Defense Tech Scouts. The United States Department of Defense spends approximately $85 billion a year in innovation, testing, all the process of innovation for technology. They're also very hungry for technology innovation. They want to as they say, we want to go to a war and it'd be very unfair. We want to be the ones that have all the tools that we need to win the war. That way we don't go to war. That's what they say. So they're always looking for innovation. So we figured, why don't we just go ahead and work with one of the ones that's asking for more innovation than anyone else. Also, I think a lot of people think that the Department of Defense they focus on bullets and armor, and they do need that, but they also employ a lot of human beings, so they need everything a human being needs. So what happens is with our encountering innovation, we attract you, we show you about this, help you to where you can come to it. We assess where you're at and where you should be. We help train and advise you and prepare you for the event. We bring the customer, in this case, the Department of Defense, they're tech scouts from all over the globe. They are in a collaborative environment with you. So the process is such that when you pitch, you are actually presenting privately to where your conversation with them is not public. Once you're through with that, then if there's an interest in your innovation, then they're going to socialize it. Our engagement with you continues because we're not putting on just a conference. So we continue to work with you. We are in most cases the gateway connecting the DoD Tech Scouts. So we provide the information to them until your innovation is handed off and referred to someone else. That is really the beginning of the process of commercialization potential with the Department of Defense. It's not the end, it's the beginning. So we continue to work with you. A lot of our programs that we're trying to create past encountering innovation are because of encountering innovation to provide more opportunity, such as the Matchmaking 2.0 that we're coming up with. Matchmaking 2.0, the reason that we had several people and tried to find out what they felt like the name should be. They said, make it 2.0. What you're doing is more than a normal or regular matchmaking. There are different programs and resource partners that put on a matchmaking event. And a lot of what they're doing is what we would do, and that is to get information about you, understand what the DoD primes want, and then let you guys connect with each other. What we're doing differently is we're taking that information through a survey, and then from that survey, we're providing that information to the primes. We're telling the primes that we're also training the client just like we would in encountering innovation. So the process then is much more effective for them to engage with us. Our job is in those 2 or 3 days that they're going to focus their attention to our innovators is that it's very effective. They can fill it up, they can fill up their dance card. The person may step on their toes and they don't have a good dance. What we're trying to do is make it a very good dance to where when you engage them, there's potential because of your innovation that they've selected. And then there's an effective conversation between you and hopefully their engineers to where you can have a collaborative discussion about the potential of your technology, your advanced manufacturing, that it's a process or opportunity that they need. You're a small business. Those that were our target. As a small business, you become what they're looking for because they're also trying to serve federal contract. So they have minority focus, women in business owned, veteran. There's a lot of things that our clients can become or that become a very valuable part of that process. So hopefully you realize then that you can be a part of it. You're not going in blind. You're going in with a lot of information and a lot of planning. Our subject matter expert on our matchmaking is Rick Slater. Just like our tech scouts with our DoD being subject matter experts in their field, almost every one of them comes from a specific armed service. Rick comes from NASA, Johnson Space Center, retired just end of last year. And so between him and then Bill Carey, our science advisor that's on our team, what we're trying to do is give you the opportunity get you prepared for that opportunity, assess you through our science knowledge. I don't have the science knowledge. I've got a 2-year tech degree in my background, but I'm not able to provide the information or understanding as to what you're doing in a way that I can help you communicate the science side of that, like Rick can and like Bill can. So what we're doing, similar to Bright Center, but different, is that we're taking a specific customer, whether that's DOD, DHS, NASA, you name the ones that we're focusing on, that have a big ticket. They're spending a lot of money. And then we provide that opportunity for you, prepare you, and then with our, hopefully get you through our small business advisors to where the small business advisor continues to be your advocate and your advisor. More than once, we have a small business advisor that'll say, hey, Alan, so-and-so asked you this question. I haven't seen an email back from you. We need someone to help us because we're trying to work with a lot of people at the same time through these opportunities and ongoing. Hopefully that's a big answer, but hopefully that gives you a little bit of content with encountering innovation as an event and as an ongoing process, and how matchmaking 2.0 is becoming a part of that process. We're trying to find, the DoD is not going to probably spend $1 for you specifically. What they will do is there's SBIR funds, STTR funds, that in some of the stuff that Laurie mentioned earlier, but there's also contracting. They're going to probably contract with a prime contractor. So if we can go to the prime contractors and those that they're working with, then we can create more opportunity from the awareness and the referral that the DoD Tech Scout provides.
Thank you so much, Alan. It looks like we have someone with their hand up. It looks like it's Perry. So Perry, I'm going to allow you to talk for just a moment to go ahead and ask your question. Okay, Perry, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, first of all, I'd like to thank the KSBDC. A couple of years ago, I came to you folks and I started a project with making electrical training devices. I've taught electricity for 40 years at the university, and I throughout those years, I found, like you say, identify a problem. One is how to teach Ohm's law and some of the basic electrical circuits in the vehicles, and I've actually developed several boards right now. Again, I'd like to thank you. You guys basically helped me acquire the funds to continue my research, and I have actually manufactured prototypes at this point. I took some of that money and also used it, and I have now, as of March 16th, I have a utility patent from the USPTO on my product. I guess that's where I'm at right now. I have products that everybody seems to like. I've used them in my classrooms. They're great. I have contacted no one. I can develop a new board probably once every 4 months and have done so. I'm even working on a board right now to train electrical in the realm of logic modules. And I have all those products right here. The thing of it is I guess the question is, I do not want to manufacture these. I've got a small prototype shop. I'm retiring as of December this year after 40 years of teaching, and have pretty much got ready to do this kind of stuff. The thing of it is where do we go from here? I mean, I've got a patent on my device. I've got manufactured prototypes for those devices. They solve a lot of electrical training problems, like for instance, wires and you know, students training on building circuits and stuff. Everybody loses the wires and components. Not only that, power supplies, every one of my boards run on a 9-volt battery that's attached and can be removed from this board. Again, I guess my question would be, now that I have these prototypes, I do not want to go into full production and manufacture of these things unless I have to.
So Perry?
I'm looking pretty much for someone to pick up the patent, build them, and then I move on to manufacture the next board and the next board and the next board after that. I mean, is that something like what you folks are looking at?
So Perry, why don't you reach out to me after this session? I can put my email contact in the chat, And then, you know, I would love to have a conversation with you about that, and, you know, more than we can go into depth in on the Facebook Live session.
Okay, thank you.
I want to, Perry, I'm also going to dovetail what you just said by an example. So you just told us where you're at with your program, with your project. So if you go to if you noticed, I went to Kansas SBDC. We're now gone to the commercialization. So we're at kansassbdc.net/tech. So we clicked on tech commercialization. Now we go to the tech commercialization steps. This explains, I won't read the list to you right now. What I want to do is show you what we subscribe to, the theory of looking at your information and commercialization in a way that is logical for you to look at, and in a process to where you can decide what your next very best steps are, which is what Laurie's going to talk to you about whenever you contact her. So you're basically telling us from a technical, there's 3 tracks here: technical, market, and business. You're telling us technically, you've got this thing done. You've also told us business-wise, I've got IP, I've got it where I can license it. So I've really got my business part taken care of. Where you're at is, from the market perspective, that I hear are 2 things: is who wants to buy this and who can I get to make it? So from that perspective, when you look through here, you can decide what specific steps should I take in getting that done. So let's say, for instance, that you're at a point to where you've decided you're not quite sure who your market is and how you're going to go that. What we've done is, and we're going to try to make this where it's easier to understand, but in this track of market, what we've done is we're cooperating with Nebraska SBDC, where when you see the cursor goes to a point, that means that you can actually click on it. When you do, you go to Nebraska. They've already done this, so why should we repeat what they've done? They blow this information up to where you can see through specific questions and activities that you would need to do. Whether it's Goldsmith model or it is another model, the fact is you're looking for what are my specific steps. In your case, who do I get to manufacture it, and how do I get them to want to manufacture it? Those are the 2 questions I would think I'd want to ask. When you go to find out what step you're at, then you're able to look at specific activities that you need to take in order to get to that process through that step. And Laurie and her team are, and our advisors are designed or set up to where we can help you walk through that process.
Thank you.
So I don't know, Mindy, do you have other questions? I see things popping up. Just don't know if that's in the chat or if that's a question.
So the only other question that I have is, if a client has, let's say they have an idea or a product that they're ready to kind of grow, or they're interested in kind of, you know, growing their business through exporting or commercializing their product, between the Bright Center and the Tech Innovation Center, which one, if a client's just kind of getting started out in this vein, would they start with the Bright Center and transition to the Tech Center, or is it really dependent on the client's needs and what they're wanting to do that would determine which center they work with?
So I'll just say something first. There's really not a focus of either or. You can be working with both of us at the same time. I think it really boils down to where you're at in your process as an individual, as an innovator. What Bright Center is doing is working with you from a very general perspective. So from that perspective, going to them first makes a lot of sense. I'm going to use this example to where hopefully you'll get what we're talking about. And it's the first success story that I was told from our Tech Scout. And the Tech Scout meets with a 10 or 11-year-old girl and her grandfather. And she says, I've been studying and understand that copper helps coagulate the human blood faster. She said, okay, Papa, it's your turn. and Papa proceeds to cut his left arm and his right arm. He bandages his left arm with a normal Band-Aid, and he uses her innovative Band-Aid on the right arm. And then he says, and the right arm obviously coagulated much faster and got the Tech Scouts' attention. And he says, long story short, now she's a multimillionaire. That 10 or 11-year-old probably didn't do it all on her own. So she got the opportunity by meeting the customer, the DoD Tech Scout. So that's where we come in. She couldn't have done it all without some support. That's where Bright Center or our advisors come in. Bright Center is providing, I'll turn this back over to her now. I'll let her tell you what all they're providing.
Thank you, Alan. So Mindy, to answer your question, I would say that the Bright Center is a good first place for somebody who's earlier stage to start. And then we'll either work with them or connect them with the right resource to help them get to where they need to be, whether it's they need customer discovery, whether they need assistance in developing their minimum viable product, whether they need assistance with intellectual property. If they're really kind of earlier stage like that, then the Bright Center is going to be the right place for them. Also, if they're interested in what we're calling general commercialization as opposed to going the DoD track specifically, then we would be the right place for somebody to go to. But our centers, it's all teamwork. If somebody comes to us and we think, wow, there's a lot of potential here for them to, work with one of the Department of Defense agencies and benefit from working with the opportunities that Alan's creating, we're going to do an introduction. And I know that if somebody comes to Alan and he's like, you're too early, or I'm not really seeing the fit here with Department of Defense, but there's lots of interesting opportunity, then he's going to send somebody over to us. But I think that the Bright Center for most businesses is going to be the correct first point of contact. And then we'll either work with somebody or connect them to the right resource.
So Laurie has been, with the Bright Center, they've been putting on a lot of very good training, of which a lot of what they're doing that she's referred to, if you didn't really catch it, she's going after people that are succeeding at what they're talking about. So they're not just someone that's pontificating education from a perspective of, hey, the Mars soil is really interesting. I've never been there, but it's interesting. That she's really bringing some very good content that's valuable to all of our innovation clients, not just some of them. So there's value in both. To her example of either or, I'll go back to the Band-Aid girl. She still needed Bright Center education if she didn't have it, and she still needed a team or some SBDC advisor walking her through from how to price or cash flow, look at her business ideology, how am I structuring, how am I protecting myself. All of that is all part of the SBDC. Why tech commercialization works so well for us as a program is because what we already do. We already work to refer you to someone else. We work to provide training, and we give you business advising. That's what we do naturally. So the fact that the Bright Center is providing specific education in the world of commercialization. She just talked about what they're going to be doing this Friday, where we can understand some of the catches in getting my product certified or able to be sold, to where it's used from a biological or medical perspective. Some of those things, we come up with something, but we have no idea if I'm going to be able to survive long enough in that process. You need to know that. One of the keys to man's success is knowing his own limitations. So getting the education, getting the advising, and then looking at the opportunities where we both work together.
Yeah, thank you, Alan. And I just realized that Tom Byler is on the call today. Tom, would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Tom Byler. I've been with the SBDC a number of years. I work for both Emporia State and Washburn, and part of my Washburn work is with Laurie at the Bright Center. And I've also collaborated with Alan ever since he started the Encountering Innovation.
And Tom is very knowledgeable about SBIR programs and is really a wonderful tech coach. So we're glad to have him working with us.
To Tom's point, where he's worked, one of the things I'll tell you that you get when you work with someone specifically like Tom, you get the business advisor, and then you get someone who's actually worked from the technical perspective and being able to give you a little better understanding to where he understands some of those opportunities, whether it's SBIR, STTR, or the pitch tech transfer programs that we're talking about. But please understand, you need a business advisor, whether or not they have specific tech commercialization assistance education or not. Because at some point you're going to ask me, I've got a client right now that's working with me directly. They're out of state. So through our Encountering Innovation program, we work with clients in state and out of state. He's asking me for specific advice. I'm trying to provide opportunities that the resource referral, one of the three, and he's complaining to me because I am very limited in his access to me, and my business advising is almost nil because I don't have time. And I'm trying to tell him, you need to go back to your SBDC advisor that he's already fired. He said, I don't want to work with him anymore. And I'm trying to tell you, you need both. You need your SBDC advisor to work with you from the business perspective, helping you edit and focus on your opportunities and what risks you're taking by focusing on that customer. And then you can work with us for the customer opportunity that it brings. Someone like Tom is a perfect example. He bridges both very well. But if you have him, great. If you don't have him, it's still fine because you still have other SBDC business advisors across the entire state of Kansas. They don't have to be singularly serving you, and then you have to give up the other. Mindy?
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. So I guess one last question. We've got about 10 minutes left. Before people walk away from this presentation, is there any one thing that you really want them to know about your center or the services that you guys provide?
So I'm going to, since I didn't do a PowerPoint presentation, I want to go back to am I screen sharing still? So I'm going to go back over here and focus on, once again, whether or not you're a business advisor, whether or not you're a resource partner, or you're or you're the innovator yourself. When you come to tech commercialization, one of the things we've done that I was challenged by our now state director, Greg Jordan, we created what we call our Lunch and Learn. We set up what I'd call a hard stop every Friday to where we do a Lunch and Learn. We are going to, this is one of the pages, because of what we've been doing, we haven't focused on with our folks that are doing our website to where we can make it look as good and quite far outreaching as Bright Center has done. But what we're doing is we're going to have a Lunch and Learn every Friday. And by Lunch and Learn, people say, when is it? Well, it's basically when you have lunch or when you normally have lunch. So it's doors open 11:45, it's on at noon, and then it's basically over somewhere around 1. We don't close the doors until everyone finishes networking. So we want you to come meet other people as well as get content. This Friday, it's Bright Center. They're doing, they're on our every 4th Friday. They're providing their general commercialization or their deep dive that they're doing, in this case, biosciences. So this is someplace you can go. You can always, once you register with our portion of it, one registration gets you the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd Friday. First Friday is a DoD focus, which is very far reaching. It can be SBIR related specifically. They're always a focus with SBIR because of the content, or it can be DoD specific with a opportunity. The second one is our primes, and this right now, that's NASA is our highest priority with primes. Our third is sole source contracting and funding. So the idea is agile acquisition, as they call it in DoD, the idea of trying to get a contract quickly instead of going through a 2 or 3 year process. So those are the 3 Fridays. We're creating those one reason more than anything else. It stops us from being introverted and working with specific clients and doing all the stuff that we do, and actually doing a broadcast output of what we're doing and getting feedback from you. Our success is whenever our business advisors show up. Tom and Laurie, 2 of the probably have been on those programs more than any other 2 people with our SBDC, but also our ecosystem, resource partners, and we've gotten several that continue to come back on a regular basis, Department of Commerce, Economic Development, and then our innovators. By having you there, if you hear of this and you get an idea of an opportunity, you can go back and pass it on. So I want to stress I think the great opportunity of the lunch and learn. Let the lunch and learn be important, or be your tool to where you get networking opportunity, you get good education information, and you can utilize it. If you want something, tell us, where we can provide information back to you. And then the events page, again, like we were talking about earlier, tech commercialization to give you the idea of where you're at, where you can understand what your next steps are. But all of this should be with your SBDC advisor. If you don't have one, you should have one. You need to get one. Bright Center will be very good at giving you content and leading you to the right business advisor, whether it's them specifically, Tom or Laurie, or if it's someone else, depending on where you're located. You can also get to the Bright Center from our page. There you go, Laurie. I can let them see it if you want them to see it.
Thank you.
That's basically what I would want them to understand, is that we've got the tools available to them. You need your business advisor, and then get your education, and then look for your opportunities.
Thank you. And then Alan, if I could screen share. So Mindy, what I would like for people to know about us is that we assist people with both the general education and also that very specific topical education that is so important for moving forward. And we provide both advising and education and connection to resources. So while Alan is going, very focused on programs for DoD opportunities, we're addressing the more general commercialization needs. And I would love for people to reach out to me about the pilot cohort that we're offering this summer.
Awesome, thank you both so much. I'm not seeing any more questions. So if that's all, I think we can kind of conclude here. But thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for the opportunity to connect with people.